How are we doing, Villas? Welcome back to another Streamy TV video where I will go through the Bitcoin chart, we look at the Coinbase chart, MicroStrategy, silver. I recently said that this falling wedge looked bullish. We're broken up, we've got a lower high in place and we've broke out yet again. And that looks bullish. Palladium the same, gold as well. Copper, new all-time highs. The total crypto market cap will cover, stablecoin dominance, Robinhood, Bitcoin, another Bitcoin chart, another Bitcoin chart, another Bitcoin chart, another Bitcoin chart. So yeah, in this video, Bitcoin, how much is left of this 4-year cycle? 3 years of up, 1 year of downside, comparing the 2018, 2022, and we can't compare the 2014 as this chart is truncated compared to 26. We'll then go over Coinbase and how that reflects on Bitcoin and its correlation with Bitcoin and being a beta asset alongside MicroStrategy. Michael Saylor buying loads of Bitcoin and they just hold Bitcoin. So we'll look at that as well, similar to Coinbase. We'll look at the precious metals, look at silver, palladium, copper, as I said. And then again, the total crypto market cap and the stablecoin dominance to give us an outlook on the crypto market alongside Robinhood, which again, similar to Coinbase and MicroStrategy, before looking at another 5 Bitcoin charts in this video. So before we get into it, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, and for everyone else, smash that like button and let's get into this video. Now, I've been on record saying I'm bearish on Bitcoin for the next 3-6 months roughly, and that could change at any minute given, but on my chart theory on this 4-year cycle, we get 3 years of upside roughly on Bitcoin and then a 52-week bear market. And as we can see, if we go to today's date, we're 210 days through that, roughly 5 months to go. And the previous two have been just a day short of a year and just over a year. The two bear markets in 2018 and 2022. Again, in 2018, Bitcoin lost 84% of its value, and in 2022, we lost 76% of its value. And so far this cycle, only lost 52% of its value. And currently, as we speak, Bitcoin from its low back in February, about 60k, is up 30 odd percent, and for me this is just a bullish chop, a bit of a relief rally in a bear market. And we now enter May, going into the summertime. Usually in the summertime people shut their laptops and they go enjoy the summer and not much happens in the market, which again is another reason I think we could roll over here. But my theory on this channel has been that I'm risk off on Bitcoin for the next few months, but I said whilst I was risk off on Bitcoin, I was bullish on silver here. So my position on silver is up quite a fair bit now, which is good, and palladium. Those are the two I entered. I didn't enter gold, but silver and palladium are up, whereas Bitcoin I was risk off and out the market. But yeah, we can also see Coinbase, which obviously Coinbase you can buy and sell crypto in there, and we can see from it it's similar to Bitcoin with the 2021 peak and 2025 peak, the 4-year highs, and then the 4-year low in 2022. And all we can see on the way up was just bullish patterns after bullish patterns in green, and then in red I put the bearish patterns, which again you can see here before the peak, and then right now again like a rising wedge in play and I expect lower. So again, I'm just kind of covering the Coinbase chart because it's when Bitcoin finds its 4-year low later this year. So the 4-year lows I'm on about for Bitcoin, like in 2014, 2018, 2022, and then you get the 4-year highs 2013, 2017, 2021, 2025, the 4-year cycle. When we get these 4-year lows later this year, hopefully for Bitcoin, this is when I expect Coinbase to have a bottom. It's when I expect MicroStrategy to have a bottom, and the same for Robinhood. I would expect a bottom for all three of those. So those are 3 stocks that are relevant to Bitcoin and crypto, which I'm following, and I'm going to take advantage when if Bitcoin keeps going down and finds that low. So I'm going to cover those 3 on the chart going forward on this channel. So I thought I would bring them up today. So again, Coinbase in this downtrend now, macro lower high. So when Bitcoin, so if you look at Bitcoin, had this high back in January 2025, but it had a higher high in October. But if you look at Coinbase, it had its high in July, but then it put in a lower high in October when Bitcoin peaked. So that's worth noting. But again, Bitcoin on a downtrend. Coinbase, I think we can take advantage of these lows. You can see from the lows, Coinbase done a 13x, whereas Bitcoin, as we've covered numerous times this cycle, has only done about a 7x. Yeah, so 717%, 7.17x. If we look at MicroStrategy, again, from the lows, it's done about a 30 to 40x. If we look at Robinhood, again, from the lows, you can see an 18x. So they've all outperformed Bitcoin on the whole, which is why I'm covering them. Obviously Coinbase 13x, MicroStrategy 30-40x, and then Robinhood 18x, whereas Bitcoin only done a 7x. So again, why I'm covering them on this channel. But in the meantime, I'm looking to take profit and ride this wave up on silver and the precious metals, which look extremely bullish. But again, in the short term, bearish on Bitcoin, bearish on the total crypto market cap, as I've said, bearish pattern in play. And we've seen the 4-year lows in 2018, 2022, and 2026. I'm expecting one later this year. But again, we're kind of at the top of this bearish fly pattern, unable to break to the upside. And yeah, I just think it's a matter of time before we roll over even more. And stablecoin dominance, I would expect us to reach and maybe sweep the highs from the bear market in 2022. So that is kind of my stance on the market. And for anyone saying that the bottom's in and we're back in a bull market, this bull market support band, the 50 SMA, 50 EMA on the weekly time frame, we are still below. Yes, we could go and touch the first line at 85k, but we'll probably reject. And yeah, that is kind of what I see at the minute. If we also look at, if we go on the 1 day chart on Bitcoin, we're coming up to the 200 week EMA. So you can see the 200 week EMA is at 82k here. And I expect us to again find resistance here, but again, I keep saying we've got this kind of bearish pattern going into it as well. And we have just filled that 80k CME gap, that 81k CME gap, which I was on about for some time, that opened at the start of February. We finally filled that. So again, that's a good sign for me that we can now roll over, as that liquidity magnet's kind of been filled now. And as I said in previous videos, too many people are bullish and think the low's in. It's kind of like a bear flag, so I'm expecting lower prices, and it's like a carbon copy to the one above from November to January. And again, market makers trapping bulls in a bear market. When we get the lows, as I said earlier in the video, from 60k up to 80 odd K, and Bitcoin rallies 36%, it gets market and inexperienced people in the market like bullish, and they think we're going to keep going up. And that is when this chart pattern in play, when we come down, we bear flag in here, we chop up, we impulse down, and they get trapped in this area in here. And that is how the market makers make money. So as I said, I think it's a relief rally in the bear market. That is kind of my stance at the minute on the video today. Was purely just to basically say I think we're about 7 months through this bear market. If we get a 52 week bear market like we've seen in the past 3 Bitcoin bear markets, and obviously Bitcoin's king, and whatever Bitcoin does, crypto follows, and whatever Bitcoin does, Bitcoin based stocks are going to do the same. So it's all eyes on Bitcoin, and I think just a few more months of pain ahead. I think there'll be a massive sweep of the lows at least, and my target is 40k roughly, based on Bitcoin getting below the 0.786 fib every bear market. For example, from the 18 low to 2021 high, we get just below it. That's 16k in 2022, and again this time round that would be around 39k. So around 40k is my aim, my area. And then it will be looking at the time frame wise later 2026. So a few more months, 5 months, if we go by this typical 4-year cycle chart comparison. But that's going to be all for this video. Enjoyed covering MicroStrategy, Coinbase and Robinhood, which we're going to be covering going forward on this channel. So let me know your thoughts if you want any other charts covered, any other stocks, anything else, any other ideas during this bear market, during the tough time in the market. But obviously with precious metals rallying, it's a bit of hope, whereas crypto's going down. There's still areas in the market you can take advantage of. But yeah, and that's all for this video. Cheers for watching.